Colonel, I got Master P, man. What's up, man?
What's happening? My name is Corey Miller. That's my government name. I was born and raised in New Orleans, and I started rapping like 8 or 9 years ago with my two brothers, Master P and Silk the Shocker, and that's how No Limit Records became, you know, the big entity that it is today.
Rap City Lou at New Orleans, flavor the whole family's here, Master P.
See Murda, I'm out, I'm in the building, working, you heard me?
This is Jefferson Parish Correctional Center. You know, they got me for a second-degree murder, something I didn't do.
The streets already know when you flood the block too heavy, that product start getting cut, losing its flavor. By the late 90s, No Limit was dropping albums faster than dudes and the Thomas was bumping that 911.
Raw ghetto ambition and hard work made him a rich man.
All right, let's get these toes going.
Able to throw parties for radio executives in the Bahamas.
We've done gold, we've done platinum. Our next level will be multi-platinum.
After having a successful run, some say the people got tired of that same old seasoning. The music wasn't hitting the same. Beats got recycled. Hooks felt rushed. Then in 99, the whole backbone walked out. Beats by the pound packed up. And without them, the label sound was like a whip sitting on 24-inch rims with bald head tires.
We split. Beats by the Pound was still working with all the rest of the artists that was with No Limit. But I don't recall anybody having any big records after that.
It was no longer the happy family that it once was.
Our Master P was still talking mogul moves in the media. Cash Money crept right in and stole the show. Manifest beats, wild low budget videos, a new wave that had people switching sides quick.
Let me know everything there is to know about Cash Money.
All right, first thing to know about us, I got the rap game on lock. You must know that first. Can't nothing and nobody fade what we trying to do and what we about to do. Second thing is, we got this game on our level. You understand what I'm saying? A lot, you know, Puff my man. I got to give it up to him. He my man. But everybody need to push over. You know, I got to give it up to Jigga, Jada, Kiss, the whole Rough Rider family. You understand? There's just a few more other niggas we fuck with in this game, who we gon' fuck with in this game, from Met, Redman, all them niggas. But regardless, it's Cash Money.
New Orleans coming through real thick.
Preach on, preach on. Say what he said. I mean, a player said what he said because I heard what he said. I fuck with, I mean, we the millennium. You know, Russ, he about 40. I'm a little young 24-year-old nigga.
No Limit started looking like yesterday's news, and in the game, yesterday don't pay the bills. Try playing chess when half your pieces done got captured. You gonna get checkmated fast. Meanwhile, that boy C Murda was stacking cases of his own. In 2001, he caught that heat out in Baton Rouge after a nightclub shootout. Charges that later turned into a no contest plea with 10 years tacked on his name. But that was just a warm-up to what was waiting. In early 2002, Jefferson Parish came down hard on that boy, indicting him on a second-degree murder case tied to another club shooting. Courtroom started feeling like second homes, and the stakes higher than the Calio rooftop. Back in the labor offices, things weren't no smoother. Priority distribution fell apart in 2001, and No Limit tried to make over with Universal, calling it the new No Limit. But the new part didn't mean shit. Records started slipping, charts stopped listing, and just like that, the once bulletproof empire was standing out in the open with no vest. By December 2003, the tank officially ran out of gas. Bankruptcy papers got filed. Creditors circled like vultures. Imagine a label named No Limit forced to live under court restrictions. That's like lying saying you own that Airbnb you renting while your landlord padlocks the door.
But he did go bankrupt. He did declare bankruptcy. I know that.
That I don't know. Did he? Then that's why.
I remember that when I was a kid. I remember hearing that, and I was like, how? No Limit's the best, you know? Right. Like, and then how does this happen? But now when you get older, you understand that when you declare bankruptcy, you get rid of a lot of lawsuits. You know, he might have had when you're successful, guys, that's when the lawsuits come.
Right.
They come.
See Murda's trial in 2003 brought a guilty verdict, but a few years later, the courts gave him a new trial, like a second roll of the dice. Hope flickered, but it didn't last. In 2009, the retrial hit, and a 10-2 jury slammed him with another guilty call. Louisiana handed down life without parole, locking him in Angola. 2 jurors said wait, but only 10 said guilty. It didn't even matter, because back then, that was enough to bury a man alive.
Of second-degree murder again. Rapper C. Murda will spend the rest of his life in jail. But will today's controversial verdict be overturned by an appeals court? WDSU News reporter Travers Mackle is live at 10 to tell us why some say yes.
Well, Chris, C. Murda's family and friends say they believe this conviction will be tossed out after they appeal, but one legal analyst says not so fast. Emotions erupted as rapper C. Murda's family members spilled out of the Jefferson Parish courthouse. A jury found C. Murda, whose real name is Corey Miller, guilty of second-degree murder for killing 16-year-old Steve Thomas at a West Bank nightclub in 2002. Miller's family cried foul after the verdict was read. Do you think this will be overturned on appeal?
Oh, absolutely, it'll be overturned on appeal, without a doubt.
The reason? Monday afternoon, jurors told Judge Hans Liljeburg that they were deadlocked. Liljeburg ordered the jurors to continue deliberating. That carried into Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning, the jurors told the judge that a female juror slept during some deliberations and kept quoting the Bible. That juror asked to be removed. Liljeburg denied it. Then the jury reached a guilty verdict, only to have the judge not validate the verdict since one juror was crying, saying she wasn't sure.
At the same time, the No Limit roster was gutted. Mystical, who P had already cut ties with, was locked down on his own charges. Mac had already been taken off the board with a manslaughter sentence, and the rest of the squad scattered like roaches when the lights came on. But once was a tank rolling through every city, turned into scrap metal sitting in the yard. P tried patching the brand up through Koch. The streets wasn't riding with it. The sound had changed, the times moved on, and the empire that once felt untouchable now looked like a cracked CD cover to roll up on. After that 2009 verdict, C. Murda's fight turned into pure paperwork warfare with the criminal justice system. In 2011, the Louisiana 5th Circuit Court upheld a conviction, and the state Supreme Court passed on it the next year. By early 2013, the U.S. Supreme Court refused to hear the case, sealing his life sentence. From that moment, his name was stamped permanent on Angola's roster. Master P wasn't in a cell, but the empire he built was locked in a different kind of cage. The label had already filed bankruptcy in 2003. The new deal with Universal never put Real Fire back in the catalog. The soldiers who once carried the flag were gone. T snatched up by the system, and the sound that once defined the streets was a memory of the past. The legal team kept pressing no, hoping to pry open cracks. In 2018, 2 witnesses from this trial stepped forward, claiming their testimony was false, saying they had been pressured.
Talk to the rapper. She's live in the newsroom with more on your conversation with him. Christina.
Guys, C. Murda and I talked for about 15 minutes, and I asked him how he's made it through all these years. He told me his daughters keep him going. He also said he's grateful to all the fans who support him, and now he says he's grateful to that witness who came forward.
This is a call from A, Louisiana Department of Corrections.
I'm not gonna lie, these last 16 years have been a struggle.
Corey Miller, known to many of you as C. Murda, has spent more than a decade in prison, and up until a few days ago, he wasn't sure if he'd ever get out.
I've been snatched away from my family, from raising my kids, and from my career, from everything, and I just want it back.
A key witness came forward recanting his statement. In an affidavit, Kenneth Jordan said Jefferson Parish deputies pressured him to lie by holding an unrelated charge over his head. Jordan said he knew Miller did not shoot and kill a teenager 16 years ago, but he said detectives told him to say otherwise. Now, all these years later, Jordan says he wants to right his wrong, and Miller forgives him.
I want him to know I'm not upset with him, and I'm proud of him. And me and my family, my daughters, especially, we thank him. For real, I mean, it's a life-changing moment.
He says for the first time in a while, he has hope that he may not die in prison. and he's glad his family, friends, and fans continue to fight for his justice.
I had this file since I've been locked up for 16 years, and I just want them to know that my heart is fine.
And C. Murda also told me, despite everything that's happened, he says he's not bitter. He also says he still has faith in the justice system, and he hopes the system will do the right thing. C. Murda told me until that happens, he's going to do what he's done these last 16 years. That is wait, pray, and hope for the best. Live in the newsroom, Christina Watkins. Scott, back to you.
The move caught headlines and sparked a new post-conviction bid, but in early 2019, the judge dismissed it, ruling the recantions unreliable. Any chance of a new trial died right there, buried under a court order. While that was happening, Master P's own name was floating through legal documents tied to corporate taxes and business disputes. The mogul who once had Forbes listing his fortune was now dragged through court filings and financial fights. His power in the music game had faded. Headlines no longer shouted success. They read like reminders of how far the climb down really was. By 2021, C turned to the federal courts. His habeas corpus petition argued that trial was flawed and raised the innocence claim again. In November 2023, a federal judge shut it down, saying the state's court's rejection of witnesses recanting stood and that innocence alone was in grounds of federal relief. The decision locked the window tighter. 2 years later, in 2025, another post-conviction motion landed back in Louisiana courts, but it was dismissed as untimely and repetitive. The judge reminded everyone that his conviction had been final since 2013, that the 2-year deadline under state law had long passed. The ink dried on another denial, and with it, the last state option closed. In 2020, the Supreme Court ruled in Ramos versus Louisiana that felony conviction had to be unanimous for C. Murda, whose 2009 conviction came from a 10-2 jury. The decision looked like a lifeline. That hope lasted less than a year. 2021, Edwards versus Vanoy made clear that the new rule wouldn't apply to cases already final. Because his conviction had been locked in since 2013, the door stayed closed. By mid-2025, that fresh filing in Louisiana was tossed out as both late and repetitive under state law. The ruling underlined what was already been true for years. Every legal remedy had been exhausted, and the sentence of life without parole stood untouched. By 2025, the paths of both brothers had hardened. One confined by prison gates with no more legal moves left. The other carrying on the wreckage of an empire that collapsed under financial weight, moving on to be a college basketball coach. Different struggle, same ending, a rise that had turned into permanent downfall.